Ay, hindi pa. Nasa YouTube pa lang. If you subscribe my YouTube, na doon yung, hindi ko pa nasisend sa Moodle, no? Sige,
Thank you, sir.
add mo ako sa, add nyo ako sa, chat ko ha. Add nyo ako sa YouTube. Kasi ina-upload ko doon, no? Yung mga recording. Don't worry, naka-private naman yan. So, ay, naka-private pa. Public naman, don't worry. Saan yung chat? Ito. So, just add, I think, Jayman Law pa. Ano ba name ko doon? Kasi may mga time di ko na. Lang, ha? Ha? Para at least you can, I think, Jayman Law po. If you search. Tama nga, Jayman Law po. So, my name in my YouTube, no? Jayman Law po. O, hindi ako vlogger, 225 pa lang nga yun. Alright. Hindi lang kasi gusto ko kasi i-record lahat para at least yung mga estudyante, they can go back na to my YouTube account, 'di ba? Yan. Yan. Na-record na ba? Yes. Alright, again. What we discussed last meeting, Kenneth, no, is all about capital budgeting. Okay? Capital budgeting is basically, it is a for a long term. Tama? Long-term budgeting. Okay? At the same time, the capital budgeting also is a technique wherein you have a project. Tama ba, Gio? You have a project if basically to purchase or not. You can hear me ba?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Meaning, what we discussed last time is all about the payback period, correct? All right. Ano nga yung payback period? If you remember, how do we compute for the cash payback period? The birthday girl? Okay.
Sir?
Mm-hmm. Ano nga yung ano? All right. What do you mean of cash payback period?
Yung cash payback period po yung period na ano nyo po, mababawi nyo po yung ginastos nyo po.
Very good birthday girl, na. We're in cash payback period, we're in parang sa Tagalog or sa English or sa layman's term, 'di ba? Return of your investment, 'di ba? Years we're in, you can recover your cost. That's basically your cash payback period. So ano yung formula again ng cash payback period? Adrian?
Yung pagkakaalala ko, sir, yung formula po niya is cost of investment divided by cash flow equals years of
very good, Adrian, no? The formula for the cash payback period is basically your the cash payback period is basically your net investment divided by your cash to flow. Okay, that's basically your cash payback period. All right. Yes, very important that if you have a cash payback period, no, you have your investment and you have your cash flow. All right, take note of this. Okay, take note of this. No, when you say about in terms of the cash flow, diba? We consider the cash flow, not the accrual or not the accounting. Ano nga yun? Bakit nga, Angelo? Why is it that very important is to consider first the cash flow? Angelo Machado.
So, sorry, sir. Ano po yung tanong? Sorry, sir.
Again, why is it that we follow or we consider the cash flow, not the accounting in the capital budgeting?
Kasi for cash flow, sorry, sir.
I believe sinabi ko na kanina, na?
Kasi kakapasok lang po. Sorry.
Dahil, okay, sige. How about yung Kamagay? Jody.
Sir, yun po yung sa cash inflow and outflow po, yung paglabas at pagpasok.
Yes, bakit hindi net income? Bakit cash flow? To be considered in capital budgeting. Dahil I believe, sabi ko lang kanina, Julia Arizobal.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, kagaya din po kasi sir na sinabi niyo kanina para sa cash flow po kasi din sir malalaman kung paano po yung galawan ng return of investment natin bago po tayo
Alright. Very
mag-consider
good.
po ng other products.
Very
Thank you
good,
po, sir.
no? Meaning to recover your cost, to recover first your investment. Bakit? Capital budgeting, it involves large amount of investment. Tama ba? Yes. Hindi siya basta-basta. Kaya cash muna kasi para maging conservative tayo. Kasi 'di ba pag accrual accounting is basically you will only consider income if it is incurred or earned, 'di ba? Pero pag cash flow, parang sigurista ka. Kailangan matanggap mo ang pera the moment na you have or you have your return of investment, 'di ba? Next, you have also your cash payback period, 'di ba? Net present value. So, net present value here is basically you consider the time value of money. All right. Sir, bakit nga time value of money? Because in terms of the NPV here is your value of money now is different from your money 2 or 3 years from now. Tama ba? Di ba yung pera mo ng 100 pesos for sure, liliit yan 2 or 3 years from now. Correct? Ah, that's basically the net present value. So, ano yung formula ng balik tayo sa cash payback period. How do we consider that it is feasible or to accept the proposal if we are using the cash payback period? Anyone?
Pag positive po, sir.
All right. If positive ba? Again, cash payback period, not the net present value. What is the criteria to consider if the company use the cash payback period? Na yes, we will accept that offer. If
Sir, pag
si Cherry Fentes.
Sir, kapag parang yung cost of less than siya, tama po ba? Sa cost, yung itatagal po ng investment po.
Alright. Ano dapat mas maliit? The payback period or the useful life?
Payback period po.
Alright, very good. The payback period should be less than your useful life of the asset. That's why you will accept the proposal. Alright, very good. Kaya lang, ang pangat naman sa ating cash payback period is basically you will not consider the time value of money. That's why you have your net present value method. Wherein the net present value method is to consider time value of money. Diba? That's why, okay, what is the formula to compute for the net present value? Anyone? What is the formula to compute for the cash payback? The net present value. Danica.
Present value of cash flow minus net investment.
Present value of
Cash flow
cash flow, right?
minus net investment.
All right. Minus, very good, net investment. So meaning you compute for the present value of your cash flow minus your net investment. Very good. No? How about naman if you consider the net present value method? What is the criteria? Anyone? Hira.
Ano po sir, kapag yung net present value po is 0 or positive po, you accept the proposal.
Meaning, if the net present value is equal to 0 or if it is positive, very good. Now, you will accept the proposal. Diba? Very good. All right. Now, what we will do is to continue about the other methods in terms of your capital budgeting. One is basically your IRR, okay? Internal rate of return, okay? Number 2 naman is all about your uh, uh, IRR profitability index, and you have your accounting rate of return. Wait lang ha. Meron lang nag-message ako. Sige. Ito ha, hindi naman sa pag-aano ha. Ito ay naka-record, no. Parang ang gagaling nyo pa, no, sa ibang BS accountancy. Totoo ito, hindi ako bias, no. Kasi isang handle ko sa accounting na high blood ako. Hindi naman na high blood. Parang sabi ko, wow, you are all BS accountancy. Okay? You are all BS accountancy. Dapat ngayon pa lang, hindi, swerte nga kayo, di ba? Swerte nga kayo, di ba, Kenneth, no? Na ako ay, parang ako yung type na professor na talagang spoon feeding. Gusto ko, di ba? As you notice here, no? Ano ginagawa ko, di ba? I discuss everything. Pero sabi ko sa kanila, you should do your part also. Ano kung bakit? Kasi I discussed that in last week, no? As in 2 hours kami nag-discuss. So meaning, as in kahit isa ha, hindi naman lahat isa. May sure dalawa or dalawa din. Parang hindi nila na-absorb yung lesson ko. So meaning, what if pala I will give, I gave a quiz, no? A quiz. So parang ganun. So kaya believe ako sa dito, no? Kasi very, ano kayo, ano tawag doon, very active, no, in participating, di ba? Kilala ko yung mga laging nagre-recite. Alright, very good. Okay? And alright. So wala lang, lagi na ako na. So far ba, okay naman the way I teach?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
Alright,
sir.
mas malinaw. Alright, sige. Alright, now, we are now here, no? Number 3 naman is all about the profitability index. Alright, what do you mean of profitability index? Alright, lang ha. Alright, profitability index is basically one relatively method of comparing the alternative, no, that takes into account in terms of investment original, at the same time your discounted cash flow. So parang ito is basically a net present value. Same formula. Sorry. Again, what is the formula for a net present value? You have your present value of your cash flow, diba? Minus your net investment. Correct? That's basically your uh, uh, net present value. But how about naman in terms of profitability index? So it is to be computed using, as you notice, di ba? Kanina ginawa natin is present value of your cash flows minus investment. Diba? You have your NPV. Ito naman is just divide. No? Present value of your cash flows, you divide it by the investment. You have your profitability index. Yun lang yan. Okay? So meaning, how about this? No? What if ito yung ating problem? Problem A and problem B. Ano yung formula again of the profitability index? Anyone?
Sir.
Okay, go.
Future.
All
Ay,
right. Julia.
present value of cash flows divided
Okay.
by initial
All right.
investments is
All right.
equals to profitability
All right.
index po.
Very good, Julia. All right. How about if ito yung ating problem, no? How much now would be your profitability index? Again, sabi ni Julia, present value of your cash flow. Given ba ang present value of your cash flows? Di ba hindi? Pero you can compute for that. Paano yan? Go back to the formula of net present value or for the net present value. Why? Kasi given ang, di ba given ang net present value? Ay, ano pang given? Given ang investment, correct? Ano gagawin natin? Just go back or just work back. Tama ba? Nagets ba ako? Ano yung formula again for the net present value method is basically present value of your cash flows minus your net investment is equals to net present value. Ano yung given? Net present value sa given ang investment, di ba? Ano hindi given? Hindi given ang present value of your cash flows. Makakompute paano? Work back. So meaning, magkano ang ating present value of your cash flows? Sa A muna tayo. How much would be your present value of your cash flows?
28,000, sir.
28,000 ba?
58,000 po.
Very good. The answer here is Adrian,
58,000.
58,112. Why 58? Kasi net present value
Net
plus
po.
investment. Okay. How about on the other side? course, 110, 574. Diba? Ano yung formula again ng profitability index? Present value of your cash flows divided by your investment. So meaning 58,112 divided by 40. Ito naman 110,574 divided by 90,000. Ayan lang yan. And as shown below, both projects have positive net present value. Oh, let's say net present value method. Ano pipiliin nyo? Project A o Project B? Again, if you are using net present value, ano yung pipiliin nyo? Project A or Project B?
Project A, sir.
Project A. Project A?
Mas mababa.
Alright. Mas bababa ba?
Mataas po yung
Mas mataas
profitability
po siya.
index
Alright.
po.
Ano pipiliin nyo? Mas mataas o mababa?
Mataas.
Mataas.
Oh, so meaning, ano tama? The answer here is
Project A po.
Project A ba ang pipiliin nyo?
B, sir.
The answer is Project B. Why Project B? Because, di ba, ano kayong criteria about the net present value? Zero or whichever is higher. Meaning, ito yun, di ba? Project B is the higher NPV. That's why you will choose for Project B. Alright. That's why here, no, again, go back to our equation. So meaning 58,112 is our present value and also 110,574. Ito, just divide it by 40, just divide it by 90. Ito, wag na to. Ginawa pa niyang ano eh. Ginawa niya pang, kasi may salvage value kasi. Alright. Kasi may salvage value. Alright. Next. So meaning 58,112 divided by 40,000. Yeah? So the answer here is 1.45. Again, what is the formula? Present value of your cash flows divided by your investment. And present value of your cash flows divided by your investment. Alright. So dyan. Sa project A and project B, ano pipiliin nyo? What if you are using profitability index? Project A or project B? So ano criteria? It should be whichever is higher. So with this, you will choose project
Project B.
A if it is a profitability index. Sir, paano yun? What if, sir, ang tanong in reality is we will use net present value. Pag net present value, the answer is project B. Pag profitability index, the answer is A. So ano yung tama? Depende sa method na gagamitin mo. Pero for me mas maganda pa din gamitin ang net present value. So I will choose project B. Yan. Alright. Yan. So A is more desirable because it has the higher profitability index. Alright, una to. Alright, number 2 naman. We are number 3. Number 4 is all about internal rate of return method. Kayo ba ay familiar sa present value table or present value of annuity table? Yes or no?
No po.
No po.
No, di
No
kayo
po,
ano.
sir.
Okay. Yan kasi ay dapat meron kayong table doon. Mat of investment, no? Bibigay sa inyo. Meron kayong table doon, no? Yan. Bakit? Kasi yun yung use, no? We will use that in terms of internal rate of return method. Okay. What do you mean of IRR? No, it is the potentially or the interest yield of the potential investment. No? IRR is the internal rate of return wherein the present value of the proposed expenditures to equal the present value of your annual cash flow. So meaning, your net present value here is zero. Your present value of your cash flow is equal to your investment. Or present value of your cash flow minus your investment. Your net present value is zero. Alright. So meaning, determining the IRR is basically very simple lang naman. No? Let's say you have Tampa is considering a project worth 249,000 with a 8-year useful life and you have an annual cash flows of 45. So paano yan, sir? Gagawin mo ay compute first for number 1, compute first for internal rate of return factor. Ano yung formula? Capital investment divided by your net annual cash inflow. Alright. Take note of the step number 1. Ano yung formula na parehas? If you notice. Ano yung formula na parehas sa step number 1? If you remember.
Profitability ba, sir?
Profitability ba? Di ba PI is basically present value of your cash flows. And di ba hindi naman siya present value. It is the capital investment divided by annual cash flows. Ano yung kaparehas na niya na formula?
Cash payback period.
Very good. That's your cash payback period. So in the cash payback period, what we compute here is the year or the payback period or the year of payback. Ito naman sa internal rate of return is basically is to consider first the factor. Kaya nga kanina sabi ko sa inyo, kung kayo ay familiar sa kayo ba ay familiar sa table, no? Okay? All right. So meaning, if you divide 249 by 45,000, the answer here is 5.533. All right. Ayan. After that, the 5.533 ay pupunta kayo sa table, no? If you are familiar with the table. So meaning, hahanapin mo yung 8-year period. So malamang ito yan 8 years. Then, di ba, we compute for 5.533. Ano yung pinakamalapit na 5.533?
9%.
Di ba, it is the 5 point, ilan ba? Ba ito yan? Within 9 to 10%, correct? That's basically your closest factor. So meaning, your cost is basically 9%. Nagets ba ako? That's why you need to have this information. You need to have this discount factor table. Alright. Sir, paano yung pag wala sa quiz? Don't worry, I will give you this now. Yan. So meaning, you will use a 9% here. Alright. Yan. Alright. How about naman decision rule in terms of the IRR? Decision rule here is basically, I think nandito yan. So, if you have this IRR, you compare that with the minimum required rate of return. So, on Thursday, we will discuss about cost of capital. We will discuss about MIRR naman. Okay? Pero ito pa lang tayo dito. Ito pa lang, di ba? Ang sabi, if the IRR daw, let's say, di ba kanina, 9% is our IRR, di ba? Or let's say, the minimum required rate of return is, let's say, 10%. Okay? So meaning, if less than the IRR with the minimum required rate of return, you will reject the proposal. So dapat, mas malaki ang IRR mo, no? Compare sa minimum required rate of return so that to accept the proposal. Again, if it is equal or greater than your minimum required rate of return, you will accept the proposal. Okay? You get the point ba? Dali lang ba? Anyone? Madali lang naman to as long as you have your table. Alright. Alright, so how about choosing down the methods? Now, objective, again, yes. Compute for the present value of it. IRR naman, compute for the internal rate of percent is same. And if the greater of return is equal or greater than the minimum required rate of return, accept the proposal. If not, or if it is less than, no, reject the proposal. So, far ba malinaw? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Malinaw ha? Kasi it is part of your exam. Alright. Next naman, by the way, kayo ba ay nakapag-meet na kay Miss AK? Hindi pa.
Sa Thursday pa po, sir.
Thursday. Alright. Kasi sabi, at least Thursday, tapos na tayo, no? Ayan. Last naman is all about annual rate of return or also known as accounting rate of return. Alright. So, ano to naman to? So, meaning, di ba, number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, the payback period, the NPV, the IRR, and the PI is basically, you will consider the cash flow. Ayan. But how about naman the annual rate of return? No? By the way, no? Annual rate of return is also known as accounting rate of return. So take note of the last bullet. It indicates the profitability of the capital expenditures. Meaning, yes, lumalaki na ang inyong company, no? Profitability itself, pero you will consider the accrual basis of accounting. Again, payback period and PV, IRR, and the PI is basically you will use the cash flow. Pero pag annual rate of return or accounting rate of return, you will consider the accrual basis of accounting. Get the point pa? So ano yung formula? Expected annual net income, we divide it by average investment. You have now your annual rate of return. When you say average here is basically beginning plus ending divide 2. Okay? Ito ay net income. But take note, it should be expected ba? Yes, expected annual net income. Alright. Annual rate of return is also to be compared to the minimum required rate of return or your cost of capital. So ano naman to? If the accounting rate of return is more than or equal to the required minimum rate of return, you will accept the proposal. If it is otherwise, mas malaki ang cost of capital mo sa annual rate of return, you should reject that. Okay? Yan. All right. The project is acceptable when the method of annual rate of return is greater than or equal to the required rate of return. Alright, di ba ito yung ating ginawa, no? Ginawa niyo pala. Let's say you have a net income of 13,000. Don't worry, given naman yun sa board, no? How much, sa board, sa exam, no? How much would be your net income, given naman. Alright, take note of also of the average investment. Take note, original investment plus investment at the end of the useful life, you divide it by 2. So that to compute for the average investment. Alright, so how much is your average investment? No? Since you have 0 at the end of the useful life ending, so meaning 30 plus 0, divide 2, you have 65,000 as part of the average investment. So ano ang ating annual rate of return? 13,000 as your net income. Saan ito galing? Ba't yan? And 13,000, you divide it by your average investment, which is at 65,000. So meaning, magkano ang ating annual rate of return? The answer here is 20%. Alright, next question. What if your accounting rate of return is 20%? Your cost of capital is 10. Accept or reject? Again, if your ARR is 20%, then the cost of capital is 10%. Accept or reject? If you listen to my discussion.
Accept, sir.
Very good. It is to be
Accept, sir.
accepted. Why accepted? Because the annual rate of return or accounting rate of return should be more than or equal to your cost of capital. Yan. All right. Annual rate of return again, advantages. Yes, it is basically easy and simple to calculate or to record. All right. Kaya lang, what is the limitations? It does not consider the time value of money, like your payback period. So meaning, payback period and annual rate of return does not consider the time value of money, but uh, the profitability index, the NPV, and the IRR, you consider the time value of money. Okay, sige. Sige, huwag na muna ngayon. So I will upload this later. Then submit this to me via Moodle. Yan. Sige, I will choose na lang siguro mga 2 or 3. Okay? Any question so far? Malinaw ba? Kasi birthday daw ngayon ni Kyla eh. Magpapakain daw sa atin eh. Kaya early dismissal tayo ngayon.
Sir, saan po
Sir,
ay
send
lalagay
you
yung
yung PowerPoint.
Yes, ating Moodle. Okay. Punta kayo sa Moodle, nandun na yung iba.
Sir, saan po po ilalagay yung exercise? Sa Word po ba?
You can use Word and also Excel. No? Then I will upload a link. Then submit the link. Okay.
When po
Submit your paper. Schedule the deadline. Oo nga pala. Deadline, okay lang ba before mga Monday, 11:59.
Sige, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
para you have 1 week, diba? To answer.
Sir,
Saan tayo? Okay, question?
sir, pwede po bang handwritten tapos pipicturean
Pwede,
po?
okay lang. Handwritten.
Thank you, sir.
Basta nababasa ko, ha? Baka hindi ko nababasa.
Sir, yung PowerPoint naman yun isi-send nyo sa amin.
Yes, PowerPoint.
Thank you, sir.
Saan ka na kailangan magpapakain? Alright, kung pwede lang kayo, pwede lang kayo lang, no? Yan.
Oo, sir.
Alright, sige. So, sige, if none, di ba tamang estimated ko, 45 minutes lang tayo. 45 minutes tayo. Alright, so thank you very much and see you all on Thursday. Thursday pala, by the way, Thursday, cost of capital. No? Please read cost of capital. So we will meet at 3 o'clock. Okay?
Alright, sir. Thank you
Thank
po.
you po.
Alright, sige, bye-bye.
Thank you
Thank you,
po.
Thank you, sir.
Po.
Thank you po.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye, sir.